Welcome, everybody, to the world-renowned, I already used this one, podcast about nerdy shit, and we like to talk about it all the time. Here we are at This Is Difficult. I'm your co-host, Lord Yeshua. My name is Josh, and we got Paul here. You're on his channel. It's Ryugami-san himself. And we've got Zach in the flesh. It's another letdown. Woo!
If we just had like a consistent written
I need to write it out before I do it because I'm like, I usually just riff it, and I was like, I feel like I said that one before.
You did.
Well, yeah, I mean, at some point you're just going to run out of material, which I guess you have.
I honestly didn't think too hard before this one. I was like, we're just going. So here we are, guys. We talk about video games and video game related materials. We have quite a chock-full one for you this week. Let's pass the ball. Let's pass the ball on to Paul. Here we go.
Don't quit the day job, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't.
MC Josh over here. All right. You guys, thank you for joining me today on this day of days. It's a Sunday evening. We talk about video games on these days. It's just a holy day, right?
That's why it's holy, though, not because of anything.
Because of the game stuff. Yeah.
Welcome to the Church of Difficult.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, we could do that.
Church of Difficult, actually kind of awesome.
Yeah, that kind of has a ring to it.
It does have a ring to it. I don't know what that is.
Is that just what happens when Colin cameos because he's got the Church of Bread?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
not a cult.
Not a cult.
You're not a cult.
Not a cult. Team. How have you guys been? Did you have a good week?
Yeah,
it's been a good week. Yeah. I've been on vacation.
Nice.
Nice. I've been working.
Yeah,
new job, but it's killing it. I make a lot more money here, so I'm really happy.
Nice.
You said it's the same job, just different location?
Yeah, just a better store. Better so much better.
Nice.
Money is like way better there.
That's rad. That's
really nice.
Fantastic. Yeah, just do the same stuff every day, and it's the worst. But I did have a good week. This week was fun.
It's good.
Got to play a little bit of games with my brother, which is extremely rare because he actually took some vacation time this week too. We all kind of like pressured him into it. Mostly Zach and Shamali, and his wife. Like they really, really heavily pressured him to just take some time off and relax.
Well, he had just finished a big project, and we were like, dude, you need to stop. Stop and play games. I'm on vacation this week. Chamali and Paul can take some time off, get caught up on some other stuff, play games with us, come back on the miniatures painting show. He's back on my miniatures painting show.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I guess he might. Actually, we might just in general take this Saturday off because of a whole bunch of stuff. But he and I sat down and painted miniatures for 3 hours last night and had an absolute ball.
That's awesome. Rad.
Yeah, it was just good to have Adam back to his old self.
It's he's been under a lot of stress, so it was nice to spend some time with him this week and do that kind of stuff. What else? Yeah, I had a pretty fun weekend. Had a couple barbecues, birthday parties, that kind of thing, and I also managed to still find some time to do some really good gaming this week. So,
me too. Yeah.
That being said, what games did you guys play this week?
I'll go.
Well,
sure.
Go ahead,
Josh. Let's hear it. What do you
me and Colin played like 5 games co-op this week. I don't even know. It felt like a blur. But we beat Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and tonight, actually, after the podcast, we're finishing Banjo-Kazooie. So we're like really grinding out a lot of these. I can't remember if Ocarina of Time was last week or not, but
you were playing a little bit this week.
I think we finished it this week because we did it like 3 parts.
It's been a blur.
Really enjoying it. Yeah. Getting back to streaming, it's a lot nicer to have someone there to like the cold co-op thing, and it's like really cool, like what we're doing with this like collage
training wheels.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a lot easier to like stay focused and whatnot when someone's in your ear at all times. So it's been really fun.
Well, it's a lot easier to. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's easier to stay focused. It's easier to come up with material, things to say.
Yeah.
And it's like Paul and I were saying before you got here, Josh. Co-op can cover a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just extend. It doesn't stop at just within the confines of a game itself.
It's true.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. Have the homies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But also just like as far as like being live on stream, if you get, hit a spot where like you're not on, like you have someone to bounce stuff off.
You have someone to be on the other times.
Yeah, exactly. To fill in for you. So that's pretty dope.
That's
But
really
yeah,
fun.
so you played some dope stuff. It
That's been
sounds like.
fun. I've been
Yeah.
trying to play through Amori, but it's honestly like it's kind of a depressing game. Also, I like really just need to get to the end of it because I know it's
Yeah.
gonna have a fantastic story and
Yeah.
finale. But I'm just like, okay, maybe. So I'm gonna grind that out this week. I'm pretty sure on stream at least once to get some material for the review. But I do
Nice.
want to play it. It's
Yeah.
just one of those games. It's like, wow, it's really heavy. It's like when I
Yeah.
first played Majora's Mask. I was like, this game is so heavy. Like
I'm
it's
playing
so
a game
hard.
like that too right now.
Yeah.
Very much.
And you're just like, I want this bad, but ooh, this is like kind of a lot to play.
Yeah.
I feel about Doom also in a different way. I'm just like exhausted by playing it. Like,
right.
Anyway, I still haven't beat that Doom Eternal. Need to get to that.
Zach, what'd you play, man?
Pass the ball. Pass the ball.
So in a week that like I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have so much to talk about on the podcast. I played so many games. No, I played 3 games. I just played a lot of them.
There you go. That's a lot.
I played. So 30XX dropped a really big update in the last week that actually, in all honesty, made it a lot easier. When Adam and I were playing it on stream, we had trouble beating one level. And we finally got like semi-consistent. We could beat one and get most of the way through a second. On my own, I was doing about the same. And then starting this week, it's like I can consistently beat 2, if not 3 levels.
Yeah.
And Shamali beat the whole thing, but beat the whole.
That's what I said. Like, are you getting better, or did it significantly get easier? Did they overcorrect in fixing it? Because that game was brutally hard. First of all,
it's extremely hard. But it should be. I mean, it's the logical progression from Mega Man. Mega Man is supposed to be hard. So when it first dropped and we were like, oh my God, this game is really hard. I was like, no, that's expected behavior. That is entirely what I want from a Mega Man like game.
It was a little brutal,
but I think it was
even
a little
for a Mega Man
brutal.
game.
Yeah. So they turned down that dial a little bit. Their enemies are dropping a lot more health and a lot more armor. The pickups are much better. The upgrades are better. The level design is a little bit tighter. The bosses, I think, have a little bit less HP. But I could be wrong there. They turned down the dials a lot. It's still really difficult. So I'm not complaining. And yes, I'm definitely getting better also. So it's, it's 2 scales doing like this and coming into they're dialing in that balance. And I think that's exactly what they need to do before it's still in an alpha stage before beta release even. And to prove that to myself, I actually went back and one of the other games I played this week, I played a bunch of Mega Man X, which I know really well. It's been a while so I don't remember the levels quite as well as I would like to. But I can very easily clear the first couple at this point, just on skill alone.
Yeah. Mega Man X is ingrained on my on the back of my retinas, like burned in.
You and Adam both. For me that's 0 and Mega Man 2. I can get through Mega Man 2 with limited difficulty. And truth be told, if I sit down and focus on it, I could get through X no problem. But and so the other game that I played, and Paul and Shamali played a bunch with us, Adam wanted to play Mercenary Kings. And my God, that is an adorable game. It's by the guy who did the sprites for Scott Pilgrim. And it's a 16-bit pixel art shoot 'em up game.
And it's very much in the vein. It's basically like a it's not even like a roguelike. It's I don't know what you would call it. It's Metal Slug is the game I would compare it to. It's in the style of Metal Slug, but it's in like more of a less linear progression.
Right.
And more like you get to pick which missions you want. You can upgrade your gear. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Basically have to upgrade your gear.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun is Paul and I found a Destiny gun.
Yeah, there's a Destiny gun in it. There's an Overwatch gun.
There's a Gears of War knife. Like that uses the active reload system from Gears. So I was right at home there.
Sweet.
It is a really, really fun game. And
it's super.
Adam wanted to play a bunch of it, and so did Shamali and I. So we plowed through a ton of it. I guess the guys got Paul caught up today, so we're gonna soldier on and continue playing that over the next few weeks. I would assume. As time allows. because I really want to finish that game. I'm actually invested in it, and I'm not paying any attention to the plot at all. I'm just going through the motions, and it's super, super, super fun.
Yeah, I haven't caught any of the story.
No, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just like, Adam tells us what needs to be done, and we go do it. And oftentimes Paul and I are off in La La Land while Jamali and Adam are handling whatever actually
doing the objectives. Yeah,
but
I'm like dying over and over again, like falling into pits.
Yeah. What's interesting about it though is everybody has a job to play. There's a lot of side goals and stuff that are like, oh, collect X number of this thing. So Paul and I can be off at collecting X number of this thing while Jamali and Adam are handling a boss.
Right.
So it's a really, really cool game, and it definitely once again thrives in multiplayer.
Yeah, for sure. So. Yeah, the co-op aspect of that is really good. Did you play anything else this week, Zach, or is that it?
Not really. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I fired out a couple games and then gave up.
So that was one of the games that I played. Was Mercenary Kings. I played it with them. I also had the absolute freaking pleasure of playing 2 other games that surprised the hell out of me. One not so much because I had played it before, but it was so long ago and I only played it for like an hour and didn't really remember how truly awesome it was. But the other one was like I had heard good things about it, but like I still have my expectations really low, and it has blown me the fuck away. It is so good. We'll talk about the first one would be Ninja Turtles Rescue Palooza, which is a fan-made Ninja Turtles game. So it's not even like an officially licensed game, but it's in the style of the old like 90s,
not quite this old,
Ninja Turtles beat 'em ups. The unique thing about this game is you can unlock playable versions of just about every character that's ever been in Ninja Turtles, period.
That's fucking incredible.
It's so that's rad.
So that's that, and literally ranging from 1983, 4, whatever this was, to every video game ever. We found Game Boy references.
Yep.
All the way through the IDW stuff, or maybe not quite into the IDW stuff. No, so I think there were some references to that too.
Yeah, I don't know Ninja Turtle lore well enough past the TV show because that was my jam. I wasn't much of a comic dude, but yeah, it has references to every Ninja Turtles game, pretty much ever. It's got references to the movies. Like I said, just about everyone's playable, and they all have unique stats and abilities, which is really rad. I don't want to talk too much about it because I guess I'm gonna do a review of it. They're forcing me to. I was gonna do just a mini review of it today, but they're like it deserves its own review. So, which it does. I mean, it's a freaking awesome game. Like it might be the best Ninja Turtles brawler.
It could be.
But I'll save my complaints and stuff and other critiques for the review. But it's really good. Definitely worth checking out. So that was really fun. Then I also played this week a little game called Naruto Boy.
Oh, I wanted to download that. I just hadn't gotten around to it.
It's
how was it?
So good.
Is
it's
it really
so good.
good?
It's probably the best pixel art I've ever seen in a video game.
Okay, I'm getting it right now.
It's got some of the best music I've ever seen in a video,
Dude,
or heard in a video game rather. Like it's almost like Daft Punk did the soundtrack to it. It's got a very like cyberpunk / Tron kind of feel while still maintaining like a really fun like adventure platformer feel to it. And then on top of that, it's got like a insane story that's like really depressing, honestly.
What is it with us playing really depressing games?
I don't know, but yeah, it is. It's surprisingly depressing. But it's very cool too, and it's told in a really beautiful way. Like when you go into like the memories, it's like got like this beautiful black and white pixel art, like stuff taking place in Japan, and like this really cool shit. Whereas like the rest of the game is in this like computerized like neon world, and it's just so cool. I've got a couple, minor complaints about it, but I'll save that stuff for the review as well, because I'm sure I'm gonna review that as well. It is free on Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, like, do not pass this game up. It is so freaking good. It's so good. And then the other thing that I played, I actually finished this game, Genji. I finished that on Samurai Saturday, which was dope. That game was rad. I've never actually beaten it before, and so this was my first time beating it. It's very cool. It's got some cool extra, stuff at the end, which is pretty neat. But yeah, very cool game. Highly underrated, I would say. So I'll probably review that game too. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Very good though. That's a PlayStation 2 game though. So
I love that you're going back to the PlayStation 2 stuff and giving that,
most of the best samurai games are on PS2.
That's absolutely correct.
That's actually really true.
And I do the Samurai Saturday, thing. So there's not a ton of samurai games that aren't on PS2. So it's why I play a lot of those PS2 era games. But yeah, it's fun. Like, I enjoy doing it. And they were really good. So that is pretty much all I got as far as games I played this week. But it was fun, man. It was a really fun week for gaming.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That being said, we want to hop into the review. Zach, you got a game to talk about this week, right?
Ooh, I sure do.
All right, let me swap us over real quick, and you can get started on this.
So, if you know me,
wrong screen.
You know that I am a colossal H.P. Lovecraft nerd. One of the streams that I do is literally just a whole bunch of us playing H.P. Lovecraft board games, specifically Fantasy Flight Games Arkham Horror 2nd Edition. That is our perennial favorite. We even have a hierarchy of like what Arkham Horror board game to play in each situation. And I that's not a topic for this particular show, but if you are interested, hit me up and I'll tell you what that breakdown looks like. So when we started the show, mysteriously, so we're playing games over Tabletop Simulator because we have people all over the country. Mysteriously, about a week and a half into the show, the Tabletop Simulator mod that we were playing just up and vanished. Could not get it anymore. Now, we had it backed up, so it didn't really impact us all that much. But we were like, I wonder if that means that we shouldn't be playing this anymore. And we also thought, I wonder if Asmodee, because Asmodee had copyright struck it, is what had happened. And we were like, does that mean they're going to be doing some sort of digital implementation of the game? Because if so, great. Like, we'll definitely enjoy that. Turns out, yes, that is exactly what they were doing. And the game that I'm reviewing tonight is Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace. It is the product that came out of Asmodee copyright striking Tabletop Simulator mods. And it features the characters and settings from the Arkham Horror Files board games. It's a XCOM-like system, but it's really just a storytelling mechanic. It's not difficult in any way, but basically you choose one of the investigators that players of the board games know and love. I went with Jenny Barnes because she is one of the original investigators. Richard Lonnie is the creator of Arkham Horror. Told us that actually in a stream chat. He popped in our Twitch chat.
Oh wow,
which is pretty cool. And so I was like, okay, I gotta go with one of the originals. And you play through this story that, quite honestly, is entirely telegraphed in the name of the game. If you know anything about H.P. Lovecraft, you know exactly what's going on before you even launch the game. You know exactly who the big bad is. You know exactly who all the major players are, and all. You're not particularly surprised by the locations that you go to, but it's a surprisingly fun and riveting story. So Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace was developed by Asmodee Games, or Asmodee Digital. It came out March 23rd of this year. I played it on PC, but it's available for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, of course. And I think Stadia as well, for whatever that's worth.
Nothing.
I could be wrong, but even so, like, who cares? It's Stadia. It's a $20 game that I got on sale for 15.
Very good.
You get what you pay for. It is exactly a $15 to $20 game, no more. The graphics are pretty bad, but you don't care because it still captures the feeling of the board games. The characters look as they should. For the most part, they sound as they should and they act as they should. You definitely feel like you're walking around in the 1920s in both Arkham, Massachusetts and New Orleans. You're a group of investigators tracking down a bunch of cultists who are doing cultist stuff and trying to summon the end of the world.
As one does.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so you literally just go through the building, click on every single thing that's clickable, probably lose a bunch of sanity, and maybe, well, okay, if you're paying attention to what you're doing, you're gonna stop the end of the world. That's the way that the games work, or that's what you expect out of an HP Lovecraft game. It's exactly the same thing I got out of the Call of Cthulhu video game. Although I would say the Call of Cthulhu video game is a little bit more difficult. So I liked that it's very intimately tied to what I love from the board games. It's the same characters, it's the same settings, it's the same graphic style, and the stakes are about the same. You feel just as invested as the characters as you do when you play the board game. So from that perspective, it's great. And the story is nothing tremendously deep. You're not going to get any extra meaning out of it. Josh, you and I talk about how Majora's Mask has all those undertones of the stages of grief and all that stuff. Yeah, so Arkham Horror Brothers Embrace isn't doing that kind of thing.
There's no hidden meanings.
Yeah, there's nothing. They're not pulling any punches and they're not hiding anything in it. It's just it is what it is.
So Mother's Embrace is literally a reference to a hug from your mom.
No, it's I thought the elder god. That's right. Sure, Paul. No, so again, if you're familiar with the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, you will know what's going on immediately.
I'm
not.
You're not,
I'm not. Assume it's a hug from your mom, or as Josh did a couple of weeks ago, assume it's the Joker from Batman's mother.
Oh yeah, because of Arkham. I was like, I don't fucking know.
No,
that would be a dope game. Come on, Joker,
a dope game.
Joker origin story.
But no, it's there's an elder god from I won't spoil it for anybody who wants to play the game. There is an elder god who is generally referred to as the mother. And yeah, it's very clear from the onset of the game exactly who you're fighting and exactly what's going to happen. But that doesn't take away from it.
Cool.
Which is really, really cool. Like they leaned into it. They were like, yeah, a lot of people are going to know exactly what's going on. Great, fine, still play the game. It's worth it.
What style of game? So far, this looks like an investigation type of game. Is there any combat, or is it all like?
Yes.
Is this like Ace Attorney kind of stuff, or?
No. So there's like the Nancy Drew sort of investigation stuff that Faye really likes,
point and click.
but then there's also XCOM style combat.
Oh, cool.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So you have people who are better with guns and people who are better with spell casting and people who are better with melee combat and people who are tanks and it doesn't delineate that. It doesn't tell you outright. You have to figure that out for yourself. So where Alex and I have been playing Gears Tactics, it tells you, okay, this character's a sniper, this character's a tank, this character's blah, 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 blah. Mother's Embrace doesn't do that. It's like, pick your favorite investigators. Good luck.
Okay.
And someone in my chat had said, so-and-so, whose name is escaping me at the moment, Marie Lambeau, is an extremely good spellcaster. If you want to win, give her books so she can cast spells. I did it, and I won handily. Because on her turn, I was just like, cast this spell.
Gotcha.
Kill the thing? Great. There's another character who, in a dialogue, says, oh, I'm really good at, frontline combat. Not in those words, but and I was like, I just happened to pick up on that because I was reading all the dialogue aloud. And I was like, okay, Rex Murphy is going to the front. Great. Moving forward.
I think I found some combat. Continue. Sorry. I just wanted to see some combat in the
fair enough.
Here.
There's a lot of walking around. So this actually brings us perfectly into what I didn't really care for about the game. The balance of walking around and combat was not good. The walking around was painfully slow. Even when you're holding the button to accelerate your movement, you don't go any faster.
Oh no.
It's so slow.
Why would they even design it like that?
That's don't know.
Bananas.
I beat it in the first couple of days that it was out.
Sure.
So they may have changed that at this point.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, streaming it was very easy because I took all that time that we were walking around to interact with the chat. So it was a much higher interactivity quotient because of that drawback. But if I were playing this off stream, I would have been like, oh my God, hurry it up. Like, come on.
Right.
The combat is a little bit clunky because they tried to implement an XCOM-like system in a game that's, it's a $20 game.
Yeah.
And XCOM is a much higher production value system. So it's very janky sometimes. You take sanity loss for absolutely, like, I open a bread box. I take a sanity loss?
Maybe it was moldy.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're losing your mind.
Yeah.
Like Chamali pointed out.
Well, there was bread in here.
Why are we losing sanity for opening a bread box? Why are we losing sanity for picking up?
Maybe it's for the player. Maybe it's
like took a bite out of a slice of bread and put it back in the box. I'd go.
Maybe
it's to purposely drive you crazy as the player. And you're just like, fuck,
that
what
was
the
conclusion
hell?
we came to, Josh, is like, oh my God, stop it with the sanity loss. This is driving me crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God, it works.
It sure does.
Damn.
The recovery system is weird. Like if a character takes a mental trauma, like if they take too much sanity loss, they have to sit out a mission and then they can just arbitrarily recover that mental trauma.
So they die for a turn, basically.
Yeah, basically. So it's it's very strange.
It's strange.
There's zero replayability at all. Like you play the game and you've got the story, which again, that kind of game, you kind of expect that.
Yeah.
And it harkens all the way back to Myst. Once you know the secrets of Myst, you can play that game in 5 seconds and there's no replayability anymore.
Though, the argument could be made that if it's a good enough story, like I'll play Final Fantasy IV over and over again because it's a good story and it's a fun game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It never changes, but
and they give you a different option for lead investigator, but the lead investigators are all so vanilla that it doesn't really change anything up at all. You're still unlocking the same extra investigators at the same plot points in the story every single time. So maybe they could have done some branching plot threads, but again, $20 game, you get what you pay for.
Sure.
The art is, again, it's exactly what you see in the board game, which kind of makes for crappy graphics.
It doesn't look bad to me,
but it doesn't. No, it doesn't end up feeling bad. You don't feel bad about it. You get exactly what you expect out of it.
Sure.
The music is forgettable. It's just that weird, it's probably hired some third-rate composer to do generic suspenseful music.
Yeah.
So there's nothing special about the music. The sound design, it sounds like when you walk up and punch a tentacle, it sounds like you're punching a tentacle. It is exactly what you'd expect. Doors opening, footsteps, lots of ambient sound effects to build that suspense. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it in terms of sound design. How long did it take me? 7 hours. Start to finish.
Not a long game.
Nope, not a long game. It is,
especially for an RPG kind of thing. That's
exactly.
Very short.
It's very short. I did it all on stream in 2 sittings. It was fine. Was it difficult? Hell no. No, not at all.
Literally, doesn't sound like it was intended to be.
Yeah, it was not. It's not intended to be difficult.
Right.
It's intended to tell a story. As per usual on stream, I played it on normal because normal. It's called normal for a reason. That's what the developers expect the average player to be playing on. Again, if it's co-op, I ramp up the difficulty. But other than that, no. That's I didn't see a need to make it any more difficult on myself than what was expected of me. Would I play a sequel? Absolutely. Of course I would. Like, bring on a sequel. It's going to be exactly the same experience, but tell a different story. Use the same investigators, use different investigators. I don't care. Would I play DLC? Absolutely. Give me more.
As long as it's additional story.
Yeah, as long as it's additional story.
All right.
There's no reason for like a arena combat mode or something like that.
Right.
That's stupid. I'm not going to play that.
It's got a good like story delivery mechanism.
It is a great story delivery mechanism. Okay. That is exactly what I would call it, honestly. Yeah. It is less of a game and more of a story delivery.
We talked
method
a couple weeks ago about when you played it, and I made I had previously made the comparison of God of War being the best movie that I had played that year.
Yep. And I said this was the best book I've ever played this year.
Yeah. There you
go. That is exactly what this is. It is you are playing out an H.P. Lovecraft story. And as a result, it's a fun game. It's totally worth it.
Nice.
Again, $15 to $20. Sure. That's chump change. Whatever. No problem. And if it comes to Game Pass, which it might.
Moneybags over
here. Chump change. Why am I asking?
Chump change. Just rolling up $20 bills and lighting them on fire. I'm just joking. Yeah.
I know. Is it a 9 or a 10 video game? No, not at all. But it's a perfect example of exactly what you were talking about last week, Paul, where we need to have some kind of a scale, like some kind of a fixed scale, because it's not a good game. It's not, but it's incredibly fun.
Okay. So okay.
So I like as a video game, it's like a 5.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, it's clunky. The motions are weird. The combat is strange. The dialogue is goofy. Sure. But as a gaming experience, it's up there with some of the best of them. Okay. I had an absolute ball playing it. So as a game, it's like a 5.5, but as an experience, it's an 8.5, 9.
Okay. So the average of that would be
like a 7 or something.
7 or something. 7.3.
0.3? Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
7.3.
Yeah. 7.3.
We just got to get a number out of here.
Again, so it is a good product. It is a good product, and it is super fun. I absolutely had a blast playing it, and the chat did too. We really.
I can see your chat popping off in your gameplay.
Yeah. It's probably the most active chat I've had in a long time.
Nice.
Because people were just enjoying us watching and playing a story.
Right.
If you've got $20, it's worth it. If not, wait for it to be on sale. It's not going anywhere. Play it. Play Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace. It's good.
Excellent. That's the review. I dig it.
It's a bad game.
All right, very cool. That was a good. That was a good review,
love watching
man.
people sit on games though. Really gets me going. When you guys trash games.
No, I mean
it doesn't sound like it was trashing it per se. It's just not. It doesn't sound like it's designed to be like.
No, yeah.
It's clearly a video game designed by board game designers.
That's fun,
and
I get that.
Just designed to basically tell a story. I dig it. It's almost.
I dig it.
It's almost like a Telltale game. Those certainly aren't video games, right? Like
exactly. And like the Arkham Horror Files games are designed to tell stories. That's what they do.
Right. Yeah.
So
very cool. I dig it. Yeah, that's cool. That's not something that I've ever like. I know nothing about like Lovecraftian lore. So like most of what you were saying is like Greek to me, but if it's a good story, I mean, that sounds interesting,
Yeah.
I
would
and
that's
not me like
honestly.
that's also not me shitting on like Lovecraft stuff either. No. I've heard awesome things about it. It's just never something that I've had the time to like look into. So
I could go off for hours about my various opinions about H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
The only thing I know of is Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's me too.
So if there's two things you should know, it's that Cthulhu is a thing,
gods or
and that H.P. Lovecraft was an absolute horrible person.
I've heard that too. Yeah, I've heard that too. In fact, isn't that what the Lovecraft Country is about? Kind of the TV show. Yeah. Okay.
And there's a lot of that in this too. Is like trying to repair his horrible narrative.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Jesus.
So and just like acknowledging that he was a terrible person.
There was some like cool ideas,
yeah,
despite him being a shitbag. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. Moving on. We have a topic this week. The topic is about like deciding what games to play, right?
I love this topic.
So, for us, we're in a unique situation where we have to have a game to review every couple weeks,
we review games.
and or a game to play on stream. So that certainly is going to impact it. Otherwise, you've got the choice of like playing games from your backlog or playing like the shiny new,
or playing something you've played a zillion times.
Right.
Josh.
So like, yeah, exactly.
It's new every time.
It is kind of. So like I guess the first like bullet here is, do you look for a shiny new game or something from your backlog? Like first and foremost when you're trying to decide a game.
It's tough. For me, it's like, yeah. You go.
So my backlog is tremendous. Yeah. There are so many games from so many eras that I want to play at some point.
Yeah. And like Humble Bundle, if you ever do any of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, and what makes it worse is I have people like RPD who, again, we love RPD, but he sends me all these games like, hey, you should play this thing. And I'm like, dude, like I've got so many games. It's just going to go on the pile somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
And that also, like, I feel like I've talked about this before, maybe not on this show, but if somebody says something is a great game, or if I hear it from a billion people, I'm like, okay, I have no inclination to play that now.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, I'm like,
it depends.
Like a strong sense.
Yeah.
For me, it's if I trust the person, like hearing Paul say how good Narita Boy was, I was like getting my juices going. I'm like,
yeah,
right.
So for me, it like really depends. If everyone's like, yeah, it was great, and okay, now I'm playing Breath of the Wild, all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second. I'm just kidding. But seriously, you fall into bad game traps like that.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a tough one for me. Like I've got such a interesting process, I guess. Like number one, we got Samurai Saturday for me, right?
You need a samurai game.
And so it's got to be a samurai game. So sometimes literally I'm just looking for whatever samurai game I can find.
Which there are 1,000.
And sometimes we land on something awesome. Sometimes we land on something, that's doo-doo butts, but whatever. I'll try and find like, interesting stuff, but like really like for that block, I'm like just specifically looking for samurai games. So again, like, sometimes I'll have a plan. Like I just finished Genji 1. Now I'm going to play Genji 2, so, and we did like the Onimusha series, which was fun. So like, but then if you go to like my weekly streams, those are actually the hardest for me to determine what I'm playing. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I'm using my streams because that's mostly the video game time I get.
Right.
I don't have a lot of time to play games outside of when I stream. So that's kind of where I'm pulling from. So my weekly streams are actually, I feel like, the most difficult time to like decide what to play.
Yeah.
A lot of what impacts that is what I want to review or what I have to review for the podcast. Sometimes we have that planned in advance. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes I just stumble onto a game. Like right now, I planned on playing Naruto Boy, but like I wasn't like necessarily gonna review it. I was honestly just gonna play it the one night. But I finished Genji early on Saturday, and I didn't have something else to play immediately, so I hopped back in that, and like every time I get into that game, it wows me even more, and so I'm going to review it now, because it's an awesome freaking game. But I wasn't necessarily gonna like do that as like a continued thing. But now what I'm planning on doing is, finishing that game before I go into my next game, which is going to be Returnal, which is also a new game. Now, do I always pick a new game as the game that I want to play? No, but it just kind of depends on the situation. If it's something that I've seen and been looking forward to, yeah, I'm probably gonna prioritize that game.
Well, that's how we ended up on Outriders, right?
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But whereas sometimes there's other games that will come out that I don't mind putting that off until later,
Mhm.
and I'll spend time playing, an older game or something else that I know that I'm going to enjoy, especially if it's on stream. Like sometimes taking a risk on a brand new game is exactly that. It's a risk. And, you might not enjoy playing it, like Outriders.
Well, right. And I was even going to go with Hollow Knight. Like, I love Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I say this all the time.
Yeah.
It's not a game I ended up wanting to play on stream.
Yeah. Well, and let me clarify. I do like Outriders. I'm just not enjoying streaming it, which is why I stopped streaming it.
Right. Exactly. And that's exactly why I stopped streaming Hollow Knight and A Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And
I raged so hard.
What's that, Josh?
I rage so hard when I play that on stream.
Yeah. It's just it's not where I want to be. It's not the headspace I want to be in.
Right.
So when I went to find a new game, I was like, okay, I need to back up and play something that I'm intimately familiar with and just sort of get my head on straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is why I chose the Arkham Asylum series, starting with Arkham Origins, which I'd never played.
Yeah.
And ultimately we will finish with Arkham Knight, which I've also never played. So it's just the peanut butter and jelly in the middle of the two pieces of bread that I have played a billion times and I know inside and out. But again, I chose Origins and Knight because it's something in my backlog, but also something I know very, very well. Once that's done, that's when I hit a big question mark. Yeah. Like, where do I go next? And the same thing held true when Alex and I finished the Gears franchise. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, Tactics was there for us, but we had to make Parsec work for it because it's not. And Chamali's yelling at me, Mass Effect. Yeah, I know I'm playing Mass Effect next, but that's a good question though. Is that new or is that old? What does that count as? Because I'm going to be playing the new version, certainly.
Yeah, but it's a game you're familiar with. I know there's it's definitely
Link's Awakening remake, for example.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's different. Is it really considered a full-on remake or just a remaster?
No, it's not. I mean, it's like you're playing the same game basically, even though it's not like the new Link's Awakening. That's what I meant, Link's Awakening. Like it's not like you don't know the game, but it's a new game. So it technically counts, I guess. Maybe it does.
So that's when you get into like remake versus remaster, right?
Yeah.
I don't consider a remaster the same thing as a remake.
No, not at
Link's
all.
Awakening was a remake. Now, is the story the same? Are the basic mechanics mostly the same?
Course,
which
even
you would
level
expect
pretty
from
much the same.
Which you would expect from a remake, unless it's Final Fantasy VII remake.
It's just oh boy.
Yeah, apparently I don't know. I haven't played it, but this is what everyone keeps telling me. But a remaster would just be them taking the same game and not really changing much about it other than bringing it up to semi-current specs. Yeah, exactly. So which that is, to my understanding, what the Mass Effect thing is, right? So,
that's as far as I know, that's more or less what they're doing with it.
In which case, I would consider that not new, even though it you'd be buying a new copy of it. I don't consider that necessarily a new game.
Okay. But I mean, the question then becomes how did I decide to put that in my schedule and put that in my rotation? And what I had to do once I realized that Hollow Knight and Link to the Past were not what I wanted to be doing on stream necessarily.
Right.
I had to decide, what am I doing on stream?
Mm-hmm.
What am I actually trying to accomplish here? And what I found is the most effective for me is games with extremely deep and clear stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there are other people who can play the same multiplayer thing over and over and over again. That's fine. That's not me. There are people who can play these weird, vague stories. Josh, you're quite good at that.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's not what I excel at.
Yeah.
Off stream, I love that kind of thing because I have the time to silently to myself process that sort of information.
Yeah.
But believe me, you don't want to be inside my head when I'm thinking about these things because I'm way off in La La Land. Where if you give me a nice, linear, clear story,
yeah,
I'm right at home.
It sounds nice too, though. I like that. I can respect that.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely like a type of game that when you see it, you're just like, oh, like I want to play that super bad, like Narita Boy or Cuphead or like Celeste or Hollow Knight, where you're just like, you know what you like about gaming, and you're like, something's so striking about this, like I just must play it. And so that's really nice. That's a lot rarer than what game do I play next? And you have to think about it. Like it's not rare. I'd say it probably happens about 5 times a year. On average, like maybe a little more when Nintendo's really pumping it out. But like a game where you're just like, and that's an easy one actually. Like when a new Zelda game comes out, you're like, oh, easy. Like, okay, Mario game, cool. Of course I'm buying that. But like when a new game, like Narita Boy, for example, I keep using this game just because it really is the one that's like in my head right now.
You're gonna love this game, I know.
I know
you're
gonna dig it, Josh.
I'm already excited. I can tell, and it's that type of game where you see it and you're like, it really checks these boxes for me. I haven't even touched it yet, and I already know what it's going to feel like. Well, to an extent, but like that's really cool when you see that, and then it makes it clear, and you're like, I'm going to enjoy playing this. Hopefully, enjoy playing it on stream. That's the only like real issue there is like getting frustrated and whatnot if something's too difficult or any number of things. But I don't know. For me, also, I do have that bank of like games that I truly love. And there is something to be said about highly replayable old school games and like stuff like that. Not even old school, but like even Arkham and all that stuff. Where you're just like, I really love this. And I can just play it and not think. And it's kind of easier to do with the chat and stuff like that too. And you can, and if you're playing co-op, for example, games that you guys have played all the time, like that's also another thing. You can bounce off each other. But even solo, you're like, it's so easy. You're always discovering new things in these old games too. You're like, oh, wow, I love this, and now I'm realizing new ways to play, and you get better and better and better.
Well, my reaction when Azrael showed up in Arkham City, I'd completely forgotten he was there.
Like, what?
And I was like, oh my god, you guys, it's Azrael! And someone was like, dude, yeah, he's one of the side quests. I'm like, I completely forgot!
Exactly. Yeah, anything. You're always discovering new stuff, and you're like, okay, so old games, it's always easy to be like, you know what? Let's just play something I love. And then it kind of reinvigorates you. Like for me, when I'm feeling like I'm getting kind of gamer's block or whatever, I dive into something that I know I'm going to be A, good at, B, love, like because I already love it. So like the story, even if you're just fast forwarding and skipping it, you're like, oh yeah, this scene, even if you're skipping all the dialogue and just like running through it,
you can just kind of
really good. You can summarize it in your head and you can be like, oh, I remember when this happened. It's kind of like you're like talking about a movie you really love to your friends. You're like, oh my god, so this one scene, like, and it really turns you in that zone.
And Dante wasn't even supposed to be there today.
It's really so that's cool. I would say it's comfortable, and then the flashy, shiny new is like the good. I would say there's something so special about when a game sticks. For me, it was like the biggest one was Cuphead when like a brand new game like blew me out of the water. I was like, wow, I haven't played something like this in forever. And now more are coming out, more and more and more and more. And it's really incredible. And these games, like, it's so rare. That's the thing. And you see it and you're like, this is a treasure. This game is absolutely wonderful. And that's when it like really just like gaming kind of re-inspires you, truly.
That's kind of how I feel about Narita Boy. That game came like I knew I was gonna enjoy it, but again, I didn't have like super high expectations. But like it is consistently blowing me away. And then the next game that I'm looking forward to playing, which I have a feeling I might feel similarly about. Again, I don't know, haven't played it yet, but like from the looks of it, Returnal looks just freaking incredible. It looks so good. I hope I'm not getting my hopes too high. I'm trying to temper expectations, but so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I agree, like sometimes there's those games like that just kind of like catch your eye and you have to play them. Like you just know in your soul, like they're calling out to you.
Wow, this is going to be good. And like very, very rarely when that happens, are you wrong? Like, I don't think I've ever been wrong about that. When I'm like, this game is going to be exquisite, it's usually better than I expect. It's usually, I think, always better than I expect.
I think I've been wrong a couple of times.
I may have been wrong, like, a couple, but it's not usually with that, like, throbbing, this is going to be amazing feeling.
Blood Omen 2,
not very good. Not very good. And you were, like, desperate about it? But then the reverse can be true, like a Paper Mario situation where you're like, this is just gonna be shit, but I'm gonna play it anyway. You know what? I'm buying Pokemon Snap actually. Now that I'm talking about this, because now that I think about it, it's probably gonna be fucking amazing, and I'm gonna be missing out on something like very cherished to this next generation of Pokemon fans if I don't play it. And
Viewers, what you're missing is Josh hasn't given you any context at all because he told us this before we went live.
Oh yeah,
Josh,
sorry.
Tell the story, bud.
Yeah, so I was walking by GameStop earlier, and thinking of new games to play, and just like, wow, Pokemon Snap is out. I remember watching a video on it. I kind of want to buy it. Should I play this game and buy it? And then now it just triggered in my head, like, why not? Like it's Pokemon. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Yeah, anyway. Exactly. That's kind of how I feel. I'm my middle niece turns 13.
Play with her, yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like, I really want to get her Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Because
it's
me.
Yeah.
But I also kind of want to get her Pokemon Snap.
Get her both.
I think those are both great choices, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all know which choice is better. Actually, we don't know which choice is better because I'm literally gonna be running around the room with my Switch like this, like taking pictures of shit, and like I don't even know.
We're back here again, Paul.
I don't know, but I think isn't it have some kind of like AR shit, or it's just gonna be gyroscopic? I would assume.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
So this would be probably a really fun game if you had your the shitty version of the Switch. What's it called again?
The Switch Lite.
The Switch Lite. This would be a really fun game for that because you're just like, anyway, sometimes it's not about a game like wowing you or whatnot, but it's like, this would be a really fun one. Like the community loves this kind of stuff. Like maybe I'll check it out. Like for me, Hades is a game you guys have all been talking about, and it's not something that really interests me initially, but I'm like, this feels like a game I should play and then probably be wrong about and like really enjoy it. And so I'm probably going to play it eventually just for that sake. And that's like another way to get drawn into new games. Like, should I just play something that everyone's into right now and see if I like it or see if it's just bullshit mainstream crap? Like, that's just like investigative gaming.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I mean, well, part of that also is like with Game Pass, we can just try things.
I might need
and if
that.
we hate it, we're like, oh, okay, we invested
I probably need
15
Game
minutes.
Pass, right?
You definitely need. How do you not have Game Pass?
Because I don't know.
You hang out with Paul and me, and we're all like, Game Pass.
I know.
So Game Pass, if you have a PC, it's it's worth it. Like it's
that's the thing.
You're more than paying for, or it more than pays for itself. Like for instance, if you want to play Narita Boy, that's probably like a $20 game right there.
It's free then, so it takes $20
and it's free on there. They're also like basically all of Microsoft's backlog, all the Xbox exclusives you can play on.
I could play the Banjo-Kazooie remake. Oh shit!
Yeah, you probably could. You might. I don't know. Yeah, Rare Replay is on it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm buying it.
Yeah, because that's how I played.
How much is Game Pass? It's like $120 a year though.
No, it's like $10 a month.
$10 a month. Oh wait, that does turn out to be $120 a year.
I mean, still, if you think about that, that's like buying 3 full price games.
I completely agree. So now you're pretty much convincing me to do it, except for the fact that I don't respect Microsoft as a gaming company, but I do respect their like not software, but like I guess hardware, like Game Pass. I don't know if that's hardware even. Like their auxiliary products are pretty cool, and I love their PCs and everything.
Oh yeah, that's 2 full price games. I'm good at math. Yeah.
I don't know how much I would use it though. It's like me having Disney Plus. I'm like, I love The Mandalorian and all these fucking Marvel remakes, but like, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch everything.
I mean, here's the thing: you're not, but you're probably gonna play 2 to 3 games a year off of it,
which is actually
and
worth
that
it,
pays for it.
Right.
Period. Yeah. Like if you do more than 2 games, you have paid. It's paid for itself.
Unless they're all Narita boys.
Yeah. Okay. Then you have to play like 3 or 4.
Like I got Cyber Shadow right away, and I still haven't finished it because other things came out and just got in the way. But I can't wait to finish it.
Yeah, that's another amazing game. That's all.
Oh my god, that game's great. And like, how did we find that game? Was that just
I had kind of been eyeballing it for a while.
Okay,
I've been eyeballing it for a while. That's another example. Like if you're just joining us now, the topic is how do you decide what game you're gonna play next, right? I personally like to watch game trailers. I like to see what's coming up. I like to stay up to date on, gaming news. And so in some cases, like with Cyber Shadow, there will be a game that I'll have been watching for a long time.
Right.
And I'm like, when that comes out, I want to play it. And it just so happened it came out, on Game Pass. I also bought it for my Switch because it's a game that I wanted to be able to play mobile.
Screams to be played on the Switch.
And it's good enough. It's like a good enough game that it's totally worth it. The game is fucking incredible. So,
I will say the trailer is huge. Actually, now that you mentioned that, like Narita Boy and a few others, like something really intense and gripping, and you're like, whoa, like what kind of thought did they put into that? Holy shit, this trailer like just blew me away. But so many games are like not good at that, and I'm just like, okay, you just gotta trust it, I guess, if you really want to play. It's like Call of Duty. Anything realistic, I hate. Actually, it's kind of weird. I hate realistic shit. I'm like, this is a fucking video game.
I don't hate it, but I don't. It depends. Yeah, that is a whole nother topic.
Because
but it's about, I don't want to play those. Is what I guess.
It's
another topic too, though.
It's the D&D argument.
Realism.
Like, why would you play as a human if you can play as an elf?
Sure.
Exactly. Like, I'm a human. I don't want to be myself.
My brother pointed this out to me a while ago, and it was like, have you seen that episode of How I Met Your Mother where the glass breaks? And it totally changes their perspective. Like, they hear something about someone and then they can't unsee it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So same kind of deal. Like, he made the observation, because I do personally like some games that are like, have realism or like realistic look to them, because I think they can be gorgeous. But Adam made the really good point that like a stylized game is going to hold up a lot better than a game that attempts to look realistic. Especially, I mean, now not quite as much, but like, especially back then, we've talked about a million times. In fact, our topic last week, when it had to do with like digitized and FMV games, like with digitized characters and like full motion video bullshit, the digitized games like Mortal Kombat at the time, to like how we conceived them, it looked better than Street Fighter. But if you go back and look at Street Fighter from that time and Mortal Kombat from that time, you're going to say Street Fighter looks better, because Street Fighter's got like the good looking like hand drawn or pixel art, whatever. Like, whereas
procedurally process drawn.
Sure, yeah, okay, there you go, process drawn. Whereas Mortal Kombat's got like those shitty looking digitized characters, which at the time looked like great graphics. Doesn't hold up
at all.
So like anytime you're doing, and so now when I look at games in general, I prefer to see a stylized look.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Deacon Drew in chat points out Wind Waker is still rocking it. Josh, I think you and I can both agree with that.
There is a vein of gaming that does not age, and Paper Mario, a lot of Zelda games, a lot of Mario in general, but also not, because like even Sunshine kind of starts to look old to me now, and like stuff like that. But like stylizing your game means it doesn't fucking age. It looks like this style. Like if it's Call of Duty and you have people's faces and shit, like, it's gonna look old eventually. Dude, I don't care if it's in 4K now. It's gonna look like shit to these kids in 10 years.
GoldenEye on 64. That game looks like a fucking steaming turd. It looks so bad.
Yeah,
but like,
no, and back in the day, I was like, "This is great." I didn't think anything of it, but now I'm like, why is
but
so
even
poo-poo?
I mean, stylized doesn't have to be that far off of normal or off of realism. Half-Life still looks great.
Some aspects of it,
slightly stylized.
Some aspects,
it's stylized just enough so that it holds up.
Sure, I would agree with that. I agree. I don't know how we got on that rabbit trail, but I
don't either.
Not mad at it.
I like the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like
the usual.
How do you choose a game?
It's hard.
It just depends on the situation.
It really does.
I think it's just a situational call, because there are some times where I'll be like, you know what? RPD, send me something stupid.
Right.
I want to play something dumb.
I want to play something goofy.
Or there could be, sometimes I just want to play something retro. Paul and I played Groove Troop and had an absolute ball. We talked about it all the time.
I'm still blown away by how good that game is.
I can't believe how
that's
fun.
Like
that's
master
the
class
kind of fun.
in old school co-op. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's also the kind of fun you and Adam were having playing Ninja Turtles the other day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the same thing. So, and then there are times that I would like to play something a little bit more modern. So that's when I start following things like Outriders or even Cyber Shadow to some extent. It's like we start paying attention to it. and we pick it up as soon as it launches. Same with Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace. As soon as they announced that there was going to be an Arkham Horror property in a video game, I was sold. I was like, "Yep, give me that game. I want to play it."
Yeah.
Even if it's crap, I want to play it. So it's just so situational. How to find a game? Ask
the
me
game
again next
finds
week.
You,
My mind's
man.
gonna change.
The
game finds you.
That's huge. I will literally say that.
Yeah. Which is, I feel like that is true for me too. Like there's so many times like that I'll be trying to find or figure out what game that I'm going to play next. And it just comes to me, like literally the game comes to me. Like I don't think of it, like it just happens,
Oh yeah, you're never like out looking and you're like, let me look through a list of games. Maybe sometimes. But
sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, I have that list. It's in my phone.
Yeah.
I move
things up to the top and move things down all the time.
Yeah.
It's just a constant state of flux.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is.
Flux.
Deacon Drew, I keep a checklist, but that basically means nothing. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Exactly correct.
I don't have a checklist. I don't know. It's nebulous for me. Like I said, like I have to pick a samurai game for Saturdays.
Yeah, and I have to pick a good co-op game with long, a good amount of time that I'm going to pour into it to play on Gear Up. That's just a parameter of the show that I do.
For sure. But everything else just is so nebulous. Like I'll either have been watching a game, and be ready for it to come out, or maybe I miss a game, in my backlog or something like that, and that's how we go. So
yeah,
it's tough. Yeah,
I will say sometimes when you pick the wrong game and you're streaming it feels like weird.
It sucks. Absolutely.
You're like, I don't see myself, like sometimes I'll play, because I'm a retro streamer is like my brand, and so I'll like find myself playing something more modern or something too different. I'm like, I don't even know if I like this because it doesn't even feel like something I would play, and that's when it becomes like, okay, I don't know.
No, I 100% agree. Again, going back to what I said about Outriders, like I just didn't like, it never sat well with me when we were streaming it, and I don't know why, because I do like games like that, and I've streamed games like that, but that wasn't the one for me.
Yeah, it can ruin it for you too, so you gotta like be like, all right, I have to play this off stream or not play it, like, because otherwise I'm gonna ruin this game for myself.
Yeah, I mean, since last week I haven't played it. I'm just like,
oof.
I kind of wanted to play some this week, but just didn't end up having time. Yeah.
We played too much.
We played too much
Kings.
Mercenary Kings. Yeah. Mercenary Kings is good, though.
I
would have streamed Mercenary Kings. That's a game.
Well, you hemmed and hawed about it when we asked you, and you were like, and we're like, okay, fine. He's not going to do that.
Well, yeah, but I was already planning on streaming something else. That's why I hemmed and hawed about it.
Well, maybe this week.
Maybe. No, definitely not this week. Okay. Definitely not.
Oh, that's right, because you've got,
We're going to finish
Narita Boy.
World. Yeah, we need to like
actually
really sit down and have a conversation about.
I talked to Colin about it actually, and he was like, he just wasn't ready. And like, we need a fourth, so I was like, Colin, obviously, he was like, I just played that game apparently. And I was like, okay, so maybe next week. I don't know.
Chamali wants to play too.
We've got
Chamali. Colin has lost his privileges for streaming with
Colin's fired from
so with us. Like, I hate to say it, but I've been burned too many times. I've been burned one too many times. So
with Rosalina, you should be able to play with 5 people.
I agree.
There you go. Anyway, let's wrap this up, guys. Do you guys have any other closing thoughts before we?
I think we hit everything.
Do we get any crazy announcements on things? No, there's like nothing coming out.
I'm sure there's stuff coming out.
Maybe we'll touch on.
We haven't been following news much lately for the show, so like I don't have anything prepared in front of me.
When's Nintendo's thing?
I did see.
I think Nintendo's gonna do E3, like E3. I don't think they're gonna.
They are. They said something.
1 month or less, we're gonna get like something. Insane.
Wait, they did say they are doing E3.
I'm pretty sure I saw that they.
Well,
can you fact check that?
One, man.
My thought was they were gonna do kind of what everyone did last year, and is like around when E3 would be, people are gonna drop their stuff. I know E3 is doing a digital event this year, and a lot of people actually are signing on. But
it's a huge opportunity to release something big. I feel like on the comeback of E3. We're gonna see something crazy. We're seeing Metroid 4, side-scrolling Metroid, Zelda remake. Let's see something else. A 30th anniversary.
So it looks like Nintendo is going to E3.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so
Nintendo's
doing an E3 thing. So
why
that's
don't they
going to
just
be
drop
big.
a new console? I bet they'll just drop a new console and say, "Fuck."
Oh, don't wish that on us, Josh, please.
No, I'm not gonna wish it. But what if you just like slide your Switch into it and it's like absorbs it?
What is it? Transformers, robots in disguise.
No, okay. Diablo 2 does look 10 out of 10, except for I don't want to play it because I don't want to.
I have no interest.
I don't want to lose my job or my wife.
Exactly.
So which is what would happen. I get so
if I start down that rabbit hole again, it's gonna be just like Marvel Heroes.
But yeah, the rumors for what Nintendo has going on this year are flying.
It's juicy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And so
I've gotten to the point where I just can't look at it because I'll get my hopes up.
There is a chance that we're overhyping it, like because of the COVID shit, where things are getting stretched out. Like we would have seen all this probably last year, but there's also a very good chance they're going to be like overly satisfied with what.
They've been playing things real close to the chest lately. So.
They do, dude. They're going to be like, "Yo, this thing out today." They just dropped fucking Mario Party online co-op DLC for free, like 2 weeks ago. It's like a game that's 2 years old. They're just like dropping online content for like people don't do that shit. Nintendo will literally be like Mario Kart 9 tomorrow, go. Especially Nintendo. They don't give a fuck because you will buy it. And honestly, the more hype and the more they're like next week or whatever, like Paper Mario was a good example, like 2 months from now, fucking Paper Mario on the Switch. And you're like, okay, I'm extremely hyped. I'm just going to be really excited about that for this amount of time. Instead of it coming out in a year, it's coming out now. And I'm hyped about it now, and I want to get it right away. And it's not going to leave my mind yet. Like when Ghost of Tsushima, it's like a game we've been expecting. How long were we waiting for that game? Like 2 years.
2 years.
And it kind of like fell flatter for me because I waited so long.
Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, that's the thing. Towards the end of it, I was like happy when you played it, but I was like, oh, I kind of lost my gas on it a little bit.
It's the best game I played last year. Like, it is an incredible game. It is a fucking incredible game. By far my favorite game.
Better than Narita Boy?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's you can't even
apples
put it,
and oranges, Josh. Like
definitely apples and oranges. Like it is a AAA like full bore game, whereas Narita Boy is definitely like an indie pixel art experience.
But I will say I get that insane feeling out of indie games a lot, where I'm like, this blew me away more
and that's what I'm getting
AAA
from
game.
Narita Boy. But like it's such a different. You're looking at like maybe like a 6 to 10 hour game versus like a 40-hour game, with New Game Plus and a fucking co-op online mode and some of the most gorgeous 3D graphics you've ever seen in your entire life. And so like it's just a totally different.
So what you're saying is Narita Boy is better. I'm just kidding.
You might like it better. Yeah. I mean,
I think I might play it tonight, honestly. I'm like really excited about this.
You might like it better. But to me, Ghost of Tsushima was like the Zelda game we didn't get, So, like,
when is that coming to Steam? Come on.
Yeah.
As soon as that comes to Steam, I will buy it. I will buy it.
Yep, me too.
There's rumors of a new Castlevania. There's rumors of a new Deacon in chat is talking about
Castlevania.
Maybe both. There's a lot of Castlevania rumors flying around lately. Yeah, I don't know. Anywho, let's wrap this up, boys. There's the podcast information right there. If you're watching the show live, you are on my Twitch channel. I play video games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It's usually something random or like something serialized. Something that I'm working my way through. On Saturdays, I play exclusively samurai games. It is Samurai Saturday. And then we have the podcast here every Sunday night. If you're watching us on YouTube, please share this. Comment if you like. We will reply to you and, do all the other fun stuff. But what really matters is, to us anyway, is that you share it.
Even though we're famous, we'll take the time to respond. I promise.
Yeah.
Josh with the callback.
Exactly. And then, if you want to like yell at me about politics or something, at Ryuga on Twitter.
That seems like a risky call. Oh my god.
I won't respond to that. No. You can do it. That's what people do on Twitter. So there you go. And Josh, where can we find you, homie?
Yes, Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV and all my socials. And I actually stream again. Wow, remember when I said that it was coming soon? Well, I'm doing it. So right now, catch me on a bunch of retro shit. Honestly, I think I'm going to stream Naruto Boy tonight because Colin bailed on me. No offense, I love you, but he did bail. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But now I want to stream by myself, and I'm like, I just had a conundrum on our news topic.
Yeah.
What do I stream now? What do I play? And we're talking about Naruto Boy. It's calling to me. I'm just gonna fucking do it. I think I'm just gonna play that.
Just so you know, Josh. Just so you know, the first like 10 or 15 minutes of it, there's a lot of dialogue.
I like dialogue.
Okay, cool. If you're into that, then that's perfect for you. But once you get past that, like the game is just so rad.
Magnificent. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. I'm excited. But yeah, that's where you can find me, and you can actually watch me now. What?
Yay!
Pass it to Zach.
You can find me on Twitch at Another Letdown. I do video games on Thursday nights, either by myself on Zach Sucks at Games or with my buddy Alex on Zach and Alex Gear Up. On Friday, alternating Friday nights, we do tabletop simulator cooperative board games, usually with an HP Lovecraft feel. That's also at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And Saturday nights, we do miniatures painting. Paul's brother Adam and my friend Mike and I hang out for 2 to 3 hours and work through the ridiculous backlog of minis that we've got to paint. Cool. That starts at 10 Eastern. Yeah. And then on Twitter, backlog. I am DENONCZD. And on YouTube, youtube.com/Another Letdown CF.
Perfect. All right. Everyone have an amazing night. Thank you for hanging out. We will see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone. Woohoo.
Bye.